breaking news this morning. A U.S. Marine Corps helicopter goes down off the coast of Australia, prompting a search and rescue mission. The military has confirmed one of its MV-22 aircrafts was involved in a mishap. The aircraft was in Queensland as part of the Talisman Sabre joint training exercise between Australian and United States military forces, but details are scarce. Bullet holes riddle the side of a Dayton home, and now police are trying to find out who is responsible. Officers were called to the 2900 block of Luella Avenue last night after a woman said her house was hit by gunfire. She told officers she heard about 20 shots and glass breaking downstairs. When police arrived, they found multiple bullet holes in the walls and a gun inside, but the woman says it isn't hers. Officers also found drugs, including fentanyl. The woman and her children were at home during the shooting, but no one was injured. Reports of an assault on UD's campus has students and officers on high alert this morning as a safety advisory was issued across campus. The assault happened early yesterday near the chapel, but the students did not report it until later in the day. They say a group jumped out of a car and hit them with a gun. UD police say their opportunity to catch the group shrank when the students waited hours to report the crime. Take a look at this video here behind me. This is a racehorse whose story sparked outrage in August after a rescue group found him headed to slaughter just days after his registered owner claimed he had been humanely euthanized. Today, that horse is showing remarkable progress in its path to rehabilitation. And News Center 7's Lauren Clark shows us that video that is now turning this story from a tale of anguish to one of hope. A Tip City family says a puppy they bought at a Dayton Petland has one of the worst cases of hip dysplasia their vet has ever seen. Courtney Miller is frustrated. She says the store and its breeders sold her an injured dog. She claims workers told her Thor was healthy, but she noticed right away he had major hip problems. She says Petland should have noticed the issue sooner because her vet says Thor was born with it. But Petland told us hip dysplasia appears around 4 months old and is common in German Shepherds. If you have any activities that you'd like to do today, you're probably going to want to do those inside. Storm Center 7 meteorologist Josh Poland is here now with a look at your chilly forecast for this weekend. Josh?
Not going to be a great day to be outside, so That is good advice. Stay inside if you can.
That first day of school is August 15th for the Dayton Public School District, and that is when students are going to be packing their bags and getting ready to walk through their school doors. Now, the district has made sure that those doors are going to be open on the first day, but it's going to cost them a lot of money. Take a look at this. This is part of that house that actually exploded here earlier tonight. And what's going on here behind me, as you can see, there are two bulldozers taking away some of that debris, moving it so they can try and figure out exactly what caused the gas explosion tonight. I'm standing on 3rd right now that crews still have blocked off. You can actually see these fire crews behind me as my cameraman zooms in. One of those firefighters is on top of a ladder right now using a hose to take out the rest of those flames. At this point, it is just a defensive attack. They have the fire mostly under control. They're just trying to take care of the rest at this point from all the work they put in earlier. Now take a look at this incredible footage that we got from our Sky 7 camera earlier this afternoon. Smoke billowing high into the air that people could see for miles around. Massive flames coming out of the Drexel drive-through building. You can see that they still have the scene here taped off, and that officer spotted that body around 4:30 this afternoon. We were right down the hall here inside the Marriott earlier this afternoon as we watched about 1,000 teachers walk through these doors to cast their votes for that new contract. Any kind of a serious injury is going to land you in the back of an ambulance like this one. But if you play sports like football, you're going to have a lot of equipment on you. And that's why the Kettering Fire Department and athletic trainers with the high school are working together to make sure their players get off of the field safely and get the care they need. They've been training all summer. Fairmont football players ready to go. But for the moments they won't see coming, they've got help on the field.
Concussions is certainly one. That's the buzzword right now.
To have people who know what they're doing here with us, it makes the whole process so much easier and so much smoother.
Athletic trainers with Kettering Sports Medicine are partnering with Kettering firefighters.
On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Teaching them how to remove the obstacles that would cut into precious time.
And they would still be packaged up in their helmet and pads, but when they got to the ER, then a lot of that staff were not trained to properly remove it. And so they have us trained as well as the trainers to remove that equipment.
It's a score.
On the count of 3, we'll lift and pull. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
down.
For the teams on and off the field.
Chief Durenberg says that this type of training is something they brush up on every single year, and now their entire department is ready to go if anything happens. In Kettering, Caroline Reinwald, News Center 7. Snow is one of the toughest things for our pets to walk on. It can freeze their paws within minutes. So unless your pet is built for the Arctic, it's probably a good idea to adjust their time outside and dress them properly. Tuxedo, Rudy, and June tug on their leashes, pulling their owner, Rusty, along.
They love it. They want to get out. They want to go.
The cold and snow doesn't slow them down one bit. Rusty dresses them in coats and usually has boots on them, too.
It stinks, but you got to do it.
Rusty only lets them out for about 10 minutes to do their business. Any longer, and it could lead to some serious problems. This week will be frigid in the Miami Valley, hitting sub-zero or below zero temperatures with the wind chill. If you're outside walking the dogs, check their paws frequently for damage. Cracked pads, bleeding, or sudden lameness can be from ice accumulation between their toes. Experts with Animal Resource Centers say the pet clothes may seem silly, but they're needed.
If you're like me standing outside today in short sleeves and it's 22 degrees and it feels like 3, it's too cold. They should be wearing the same type of outfits we are.
With the cold weather comes anti-freezing chemicals. Salt and ice melt can get stuck in paws, on legs, or even their bellies and can be toxic. And while antifreeze is smart for your car, it's deadly for them.
If by some chance you have a spill, your radiator overflows, make sure you clean it up quickly because dogs and cats are attracted to it. It smells and tastes sweet, and it can kill them.
For Tuxedo, Rudy, and June, their mom has them covered, especially at the end of their walk when they finally get to go back inside. If your pets stay outside, make sure that you're amping up their shelters to make sure that they're extra warm this winter. And you want to make sure that they have fresh water nearby because it can easily turn to ice in these cold temperatures. Reporting live in Dayton, Caroline Reinwald, News Center 7. All of the parties involved say they were not even planning on being at El Toro restaurant in Bellbrook Monday night when this happened, but they are happy they were now. The parents tell me that they know perfectly well how to perform CPR on their children, but this is really one of those instances where they needed an expert there to help them out.
They say your life changes when your first daughter is born. But Nicole and Michael Terrell both agree their lives changed forever when their first daughter stopped breathing.
She was gone. I mean, if I'm being honest, and she was gone.
Their daughter, Isla, was born 8 weeks premature and had feeding issues. Her mother had only been breastfeeding her for a couple of minutes before Isla started turning blue.
She handed her to me, and that was the scariest moment of my life, is looking at her and remembering what she looked like in that moment where, you know, her color was different. She wasn't responding. Her eyes were rolled back, and like you knew, it was bad.
Because, I mean, in that moment I froze, and when I looked at her, I knew this is more than just one of her episodes that she had previously had.
Hi, how are you?
Thankfully, help was nearby.
And I heard someone yell, "Does anyone know CPR?"
2 nurses immediately put Isla flat on the table and began saving her life.
And they were real quick. When they got to me, it was very quick. There wasn't a lot of fumbling around.
I knew that it was up to me and up to Mary that we were going to stay focused, so we were communicating the whole time.
And after 4 or 5 cycles of CPR, Isla started breathing.
I was like, okay.
Now, Isla is back in the Dayton Children's NICU. And her parents love hearing her cries.
Now it's a reassuring sound. It's a safe sound for me. It's like, okay, she's breathing.
Plus, she now has a lifelong friend, safely watching over her.
Yes, I think I will better be invited to the first birthday party. I better be going to her wedding and her graduation first, her graduation.
Now, doctors in the Dayton Children's NICU are trying to figure out what kind of a medical issue Isla has that causes her to lose consciousness. They say it has nothing to do with her parents, and they are running tests on her right now to figure out what that issue is, but it is likely she's going to be here for quite some time. Live in Dayton, Caroline Reinwald, News Center 7.